Hello everybody, I'm Cantonese Cat. Hey everybody, Cantonese Cat here. Been a brutal day. Clean Spark down 10% at one point. Right now it's down about 8%. It's the monthly chart of Clean Spark that I'm showing you here. Right now is kind of finding support at the bottom of this volume shelf right here. That it's been kind of where price has been bouncing around for a very long time. The volume shelf here is probably around like 15.7, 15.8. It's been trying to find support right up here. It's one of the best looking miner stock for Bitcoin, as you can see, and it's still making, overall it's still a bull trend. It's still making higher highs and higher lows. So this is a certified, bull trend. Right now it does seem that price are, kind of going back and forth between this volume shelf here for quite some time. You look at the weekly. If you look at the monthly, what we're seeing here is that there's a rejection from up here. It could be due to this volume shelf right up here. But if you also look at the Ichimoku cloud, you also can see that there's a rejection right here on the top of the cloud here as well. So between the volume shelf as well as the Ichimoku cloud, it's been having a hard time trying to get above this level, even though Bitcoin has been getting, really surpasses all-time high. Right now, Bitcoin is actually doing this thing where it seems like it's past all-time high. It might be back testing the prior all-time high around 69,000 here a little bit. It could go down further. There's a lot more, the further away from these supports right down here, the further down it could go. But right now, the most logical thing for it to do, because of how impulsive price action has been, it would make sense reasonably for it to kind of bounce back to the all-time high of 69,000, see whatever finds support. If not, it might end up going down to lower levels. But regardless, the key thing is, as the price have gotten pretty impulsive, it found rejection right here at the volume shelf and at the top of, at the bottom of this Ichimoku cloud. It does have the a couple of things that are favoring it. One is it did have a bullish cross at the Tenkan and the Kijun. And the Tenkan, really, Clean Spark has been able to turn the monthly Tenkan from resistance down here to potentially to support here. It hasn't needed to test this yet, but it could. And if it does, some of the levels down below would be 13.4, which is right at the Tenkan, and the level down here is 12.6 right at the Kijun, at the blue. It hasn't really needed to test that. These lines are also very coincidentally very close to, like the 13, 11 and a half, somewhere around here. It's been pretty close to these kind of volume shelves down here. So there's still plenty of support if price ever needed to go back down and trying to find support underneath. There's a couple of, pretty decent support down here. And the other thing to look at would be the Bollinger Band. Right now price has gotten so impulsive last month that it's way outside of the Bollinger Band. But because of that, also tends to pull the Bollinger Band up and down. Right now it has a very, very nice 20-month moving average that's curling up. This looks like a very, very nice bull trend. So even though you're going to have some pretty volatile corrections, plus or minus 10, 15, 20% a day, these things happens with Bitcoin miners. That's what you're signing up for. Price back in early 2023, it was as low as like 1.7. It was less than $2 per share. And right now you're talking about 15s, and it went up as high as like 23, 24. Right now it's a little bit beyond the upper Bollinger Band, but it's pulling everything up. The 20-month moving average is accelerating. I think the price is going to keep going up regardless. You're going to have some corrections here and there, but I'm not really too concerned about it. But it's reasonable for price to potentially test down some of these levels down here around 13 or 12, because this one right here has been going a little bit too far, too fast. And I think that's okay if it ends up doing that. We would just see what we can to try to add more. But right now the trend is still very, very bullish, both on the monthly and on the weekly. And as you can see, higher lows and higher highs. And as you can see, the 20-week moving average is also pointing up pretty strong. And you can see 20 is about 50, is about 100, and all three are actually pointing up. We could potentially go all the way back down here. It'll still be a higher high, and this still going to be a bull trend, and the price action is still going to be constructive. Is it going to do that? I don't know. There's no guarantee. Bull market support band is just a part of the 20-week moving average. It's a part of the bull market support band. The other component is the 21 week exponential moving average. You have a pretty nice volume shove down here. If price breaks down, most likely it's going to go down to like 13 right here to test that. Maybe by then the more support band would be raised a little bit higher for it to be support before it bounces up. Or maybe it just finds support right here and it just goes up, who knows. But you have a couple pretty decent support here, 13, 11 and a half, as shown by the bull market support band as it keeps on moving up into that range. It's still pointing up very, very much positively, so I think it's going to serve as pretty decent support. Even if price breaks down a little bit, I still think that's not going to serve as pretty strong resistance at all. It's probably just going to break back up and it's probably going to have a bullish continuation after that. Right now, the buying volume has been very high. Selling volume has been very low. The sellers and the bears are kind of non-committal. I'm just not impressed by these big corrections. Like I'm talking about not impressed. I'm not impressed that bears are able to push from $21 all the way down to like 14. I'm not impressed by that because when the bulls come, they push from $8 to 14. Nobody asks any questions when that happens. Everybody's asking questions when this is happening. And I think a lot of people are saying, oh, that's not the point. The point is Bitcoin's kind of gone up way fast. Why are these miners lagging? Well, I mean, one big reason is because IWM is taking a dump. These are miner stocks. They're stocks. They're not crypto. They're stocks. So they're going to follow a very similar liquidity source as the small cap stocks, and they're going to end up outperforming small caps if time comes if it needs to be. But right now, small caps is still not is anywhere near its all-time high quite just yet. It's all the way up here in 240s, 250, close to 250 here on the IWM, and you're still talking about a big move right here. If it ever gets to all-time high, CleanSpark going to be a lot higher. But right now, even right now, it's setting up for a pretty decent bull run. Even if it goes back all the way down to this level and kind of test this breakout of this particular level right here, I think it's still going to be a pretty decent bull trend for the remainder of 2024 into 2025. Now, if you're talking about the Ichimoku cloud, it is above a couple of these lines right here. The Tenkan, which is the red, and the Kijun, which is the blue, is getting above those kind of levels right here. And what you're seeing is right now it probably just kind of bounce off of this volume shove right here, which also means it's bounced off of like the Tenkan right here coincidentally, right? There's a pretty decent confluence right here. And it could be finding support here. It could go higher or it could go back down a little bit lower to around 13 range to test the Kijun and go out higher. These could potentially serve as support levels too. If it breaks down, there are also some other volume shoves down here. I'm more looking at trends. I don't know how far it's going to drop down. I'm looking at trends. I'm also looking at volume. This is still a pretty decent weekly and monthly setup. And the lower it goes, I think the better, risk-reward ratio this is. So I'm not really complaining here, although I think a lot of people are. Especially about Mara, less so about CleanSpark, but even then people are scared by CleanSpark as well, just because it hasn't really followed Bitcoin's price action. You draw the Fibonacci levels here, you got to recheck them 0.5, went back down, initially found support at 0.382, but it seems to be breaking below that a little bit. It seems to be trying to find support right around this range right here. I think there's a potential for it to go down further to 11 to 12, 13, and it would still be a bull trend. I just want to let you know that there are potential downsides here. These are very volatile stocks, and if you are going to buy and if you're going to do any kind of leverage, just be careful because there could potentially be further downsides that you may not anticipate. But I do think that the support levels down here are going to be pretty strong if the event that it does go down and test it. You never know. That's pretty much CleanSpark. I mean, I show you the weekly, I show you the monthly. I generally don't like to show the daily because it, to me, is irrelevant in the longer trend. I'm not a day trader, so if you're interested in kind of finding up daily setups and things like that, I'm not the right cat for it. But yeah, I just want to spend 10 minutes talking about Clean Spark, giving you an update in terms of what I'm thinking, despite a pretty brutal day today, down about 8.5%. I still think that overall it still seems to be on the right track. We'll see where it goes from here, maybe a little bit lower before it goes up higher. Or maybe it actually is finding support here and it just goes higher. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Bye.